Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wonderful people, lovers of freedom all over the world. Wherever you're joining us from today, you're highly welcome to this wonderful YouTube platform that gives you quality news and information on all the activities happening in Biafran territory. Yes, all the activities happening here. Please subscribe and do not forget to share this news to as many groups and to as many platforms as possible. Here on Let's Stop TV, we'll keep on giving you all the informations where they happen for Biafran territory. Now, straight up to the issue. This video you're about to watch is a very controversial video. This is a very controversial video. After watching this video, the least you can do is to show your unrelentless support to the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, because them plenty, where they find way to bring him down. In the Igbo say, Onyomere Amanala. For the fact that it hasn't happened to you does not mean it is not happening to others. This is the issue here. That it's not happening to you doesn't mean that it is not happening to somebody else. It is happening. It is happening in Biafran land. It is happening to so many Biafrans. It is happening to our brothers and our sisters. It is happening. Look at these people who are castigating the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, saying all kind of things against him, finding a way to bring him down. When I raise the alarm of the sacrifices that the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, is sacrificing in the cause of this freedom, people did not understand. Somebody will come out and say, he's just standing, he's sitting there, giving orders, to the Biafran Liberation Army, to these people, to Biafrans, to carry it out for him. What is he even doing? Do you know that the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa's life is at stake the day he took the mantle, to fight for the freedom of every Biafran? His life became at stake. These people have laid down their life just for the freedom to come as quickly as possible. Look at the set of people, the set of cabals, how they are dragging the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. Listen to all these interviews. Listen down and listen with a clear mind, and you will understand the sacrifices he is making. You're always talking about him. They want to bring him down. Simon Ekpa did this. Simon Ekpa did that. He did this. But they forgot how they have been massacring innocent people, innocent Biafrans in Biafran land throughout all these interviews. In fact, I had to cut it short. None of them mentioned, the act of terrorism that is happening in Biafran land. Even Ķïďńàp Baribe, the so-called Ķïďńàp Baribe, I don't have any issue with him. We are from the same local government. I don't have any problem with him. After all, he supported Nnamdi. He has his own right to his own opinion. But for him to come out, and say that the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa is the person who is causing the insecurity and the whole atrocities, without mentioning the Nigerian government and the terrorist army and how they've been massacring all the innocent people in Biafran land, that is a big no. That is a big no. And that is truly unfair. Look at how they want to eat him raw. But the reality is that out of all of them, nobody fit stand face to face with the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa and say all this trash to him. Now me talk him. It's not because of the fact that, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying the reality because I know the kind of power that the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa possesses. And that is just the reality. Listen to this numerous interview and go to the comment section and give us your own input concerning this matter.
Some of his pronouncements or maybe lines of actions and so on were offensive to the Nigerian state, and there was a need maybe to take certain actions. But you see, Nigeria itself is a family. That's my picture of Nigeria. When parts of the family feel offended, as a father, as parents, you sit the gentleman down, you sit the child down, and try to find out what are the problems. How do I help you? You don't like the Christmas shoe we bought for you? Okay, we'll get you a new one. Would that solve the problem? You don't like this meal? Can we fix another meal for you? Can we start talking with Kanu? Can we start talking with IPOP? Can we start talking with other groups? I think a conversation with some of these teams would go a long way in addressing the problem. We mustn't at all times apply the stick. Bring in some carrot at times. And let's see a carrot and stick diplomacy at play. Okay? We can do that. And I think if we do that, the Southeast, the situation in the Southeast will be highly doused, frankly speaking. All right? Further incarceration only make him more and more relevant, only heightened the heroship over him. He is a hero now, whether we want to accept it or not. And we made him the hero. Right. We have made him a hero in the Southeast. If he comes out now, he's wise. He can contest for governorship in any of the states. Nobody will be asking whether he's from that state in the Southeast.
So please consider the insecurity in the entire Southeast. And see, as a result of the insecurities as a result of the prolonged detention of Nnamdi, and see a way of releasing him so as to restore peace in the entire Southeast. That is the amendment I want to add. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, dear colleagues.
I think what the intention of Honorable Ķïďńàp was to find an amicable way of resolving the issue with regards to Nnamdi and maybe urge, I think it should be amended to read, urge Mr. President to use any other diplomatic or political approach, granted that this is before the court, to find a lasting solution on this issue, because some of us who are from Southeast, we know where the shoe is pinching us, and we know what you can take out of it, and there will be a healthy security situation in the Southeast. So I urge that the amendment will be to urge Mr. President to use political intervention, diplomatic intervention, asking for his mercy to release Nnamdi to enable that zone to find a lasting peace. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Longer Nnamdi remain in prison, the more the cause he is fighting for is being flourished by his own detention. Tinubu is a president that came from the trenches. He is one of those who fought for democracy and freedom. And I believe, if not for the fact that he went to exile, he could have ended up in prison with us in the 90s. Then someone of his own stature cannot be lectured about democracy or human rights, because we are all in the trenches fighting. So my expectation is that the problem cannot be solved by keeping the leader of the struggle perpetually in prison, you don't solve the problem. You can only solve the problem if you discuss the problem.
I put the question to the governor during our media chat. I said, can you say with finality that the sit-at-home syndrome has been defeated? The governor initially didn't answer the question, and I put it back to him. I said, I asked you a definitive question, sir. Can you say with finality that the sit-at-home syndrome has been defeated, especially in the hinterland? Again, he tried to show me that, yes, progress has been made. Didn't you see people moving around? So I was worried because the Biafra Day celebration is a day like no other. But where a group that has been proscribed is telling people to go on holiday, the question you ask is, where did it derive that legitimacy from?
Yeah.
To tell people, no, today don't go out. We are celebrating, we are remembering our fallen heroes and all that. To make matters worse in this matter, Simon Ekpa, on his part, said the sit-at-home is not going to be for one day, that it will be from the 29th to the 31st of May. Now you can imagine keeping people in their homes, telling people not to go out for all those days. How would people feed? How would they survive? Staying indoors for a people who are very enterprising, who are no
security post in Èkpá, killing 5 soldiers and 6 civilians during a shootout. Your thoughts?
I think it was one of the most cowardly acts that has been carried out recently. It's quite sad because it's like 1 year down the line, we still have the security challenges. But what bothers me here is that they came in 3 tinted SUVs, Prado. Everybody knows how much a Prado cost. That should tell you how much these people how they're being funded. While the 3 SUVs we are approaching, they also had ground support. So there was failure of intelligence, because that would be Akaba's junction in Obingwa local government area where this attack took place. I heard the junction is a wide junction that they could have been able to tell. And when you see 3 SUVs coming at the time when you have talked about sit at home, I thought there should have been more of intelligence. As sad as it is, but it was a surprise attack. And at this point in time, the National Intelligence Agency have to sit up, because Simon Ekpa is becoming more of a clog in the wheel of progress for the 5 southeastern states. Some of us have said that holding down Nnamdi has been negative, because it has given cause to raise a Simon Ekpa who is not preaching the same sermon as Nnamdi was preaching, who is preaching violence. He's in Finland. I wonder what the Nigerian embassy in Finland is doing, and the Nigerian foreign minister is doing at this material point in time. He goes on Twitter. He calls out those violent acts. He goes on propaganda. He says he's carrying out referendum and they have been 30 million votes. Apparently, this attack was not done by IPOB. This was done by Simon Ekpa's boys, and he probably posted it on Twitter. If you notice, he has been number 1 on the on trends for some time now on Twitter, and he's enjoying all the media attention, and you know, that gathers him more support, gathers him more finances, and these are the finances that he's using. You know, he actually does empowerment programs. Simon Ekpa, he sends funds to these people who actually also see him in the quest of being a benefactor. So the government has to do something about it. Yes, if not, the Southeast is going to continue to be a war theater. And one thing I must also point out,
briefly,
the military says they're going to go after them, but this is a guerrilla warfare. it's quite difficult to get people in a guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, that's why we're warning that it has to be done within the ambit of the law. But I mean, you make some very good points there, and of course the Nigerian government can't go to Finland and sort of try and extract Simon Ekpa from there. But all they can do is try and get the cooperation of the Finnish government, and the Finns have said that they've tried at one point to pick him up. They said that there just didn't seem to be any evidence directly linking him to what was going on here. Well, let me come to you, Abba Kaka, and I apologize, I was calling you Abba Kaba, but somebody had written your name that way and forwarded it to me, so I do apologize. But I mean, Kenny Okolobo was talking about this and the linkage to Nnamdi Kanu. Does all this make it less likely, because the name IPOB is associated with this, that Nnamdi Kanu will be released anytime soon? Or does it strengthen the argument which he himself makes, that in his absence, the group is running amok, but if he was freed, the reason for their violent protest?
Because we need to look at the causes of the problem in the southeast. We need to look at what actually caused these very problems. And I could see that when the people of indigenous people of Biafra started, it was a very peaceful movement. In all Nnamdi Kanu has done in the process of sensitizing people for secession, he never used any gun. He never used any form of weapon. But unfortunately, this process has been hijacked. Because people have hijacked it, and especially miscreants, even when the young man had said openly, publicly, and even in writing, that look, I am not in support of anybody maiming and killing anybody in the southeast. But the likes of Simon Ekpa could not see any reason with that.
Okay, so now that you mentioned Simon Ekpa, he's somewhere in Europe living his life and dishing out orders from that part of the world to people that live in the southeast. And mostly he's being obeyed, or he has people that carry out his orders. Why do you think the southeast governors have not done something about Simon Ekpa specifically? Obviously, the man is powerful and people are listening to him on the ground.
Well, the Southeast governors could appeal to the Attorney General or the President, because the law is very clear. What the federal government ought to do is to seek a way to extract the Southeast.
All right, a political solution, you say, but it's not only Nnamdi Kanu that in time past has fanned the flames of IPOB, but you and I know that Simon Ekpa, all right, regardless of Nnamdi Kanu trying to bring a little bit of sense into all that has been happening, we've had Simon Ekpa actually fanning the embers and actually probably stoking people to go out there and continue what they've been doing.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think Simon Ekpa is even working with the IPOB. If he's serious, he should come back to Nigeria and begin to ask his people to lead. You cannot, stay outside Nigeria and directing misguided people to be committing heinous crime. I also
Mr.
believe
Ejiofor,
that government should enter.
Permit me to come in here. Yes, a lot of people have said that.
Yes.
We know he's still in Finland, but it doesn't change the fact that he's a voice that several people, especially those in the southeast, listen to. So saying that he should come, that probably he should come back. Well, that's probably not a very, very realistic move, but he's still a voice that people listen to, especially those in the southeast.
Yeah, it's a voice. It's a voice. If you remember what I said, it's a voice to misguided elements. It's not a voice to reasonable people. But I can be listening to him. Most people cannot be listening. But some of these people who have been brainwashed will be listening to him. But he's there, enjoying himself. But I also believe that this time, government should enter into negotiations with the country where he's operating from and see whether he can be repatriated and to enable him face trial. Because what he's doing is worse than what Nnamdi Kanu was doing. So he should be brought back for trial.
So what is the way forward? How do we prevent this from happening again, whereby we have non-state actors attacking our military personnel? How do we stop it, not just in the southeast, but in all parts of the country?
You see, in all parts of the country, for instance, if I talk of the southeast, that people should come out to volunteer information, the people are scared. They are afraid. They cannot give out information because these people are living within the same people. So our security agencies should intensify efforts to flush out these elements from their hideouts. And once that is done, because I was watching a video on Arise this morning, where they were parading themselves.
In DSS, called a meeting of all the leaders of the Southeast and said, this is what Nnamdi Kanu said, that he is not part of this. Yet, every Monday, what happens is this. A few miscreants, and I use the word advisedly, come out, shoot and kill one or two people, and run away, and video it and send across the whole of the Southeast, and everybody is now scared. The governors we met, all of us in the National Assembly we have met, everybody has condemned it. I need the Senate to know that there is no one in the Southeast except the criminals who support this sit-at-home. Their modus operandi is simple. It's just terror. I have called the market leaders in Abia, and I said, you can't continue to stay away. And they told me that the people have threatened to burn their markets at night if they don't stay away. So this is beyond the citizenry coming out to just say, we don't accept it. Because what they have done is to use terror tactics to intimidate a whole region. And we have had meetings with the DSS, and all that the DSS has told us is, listen, these are just a few people. They will come out in one road, they will find somebody just driving along on his way to doing anything, shoot him, and then they will say it is because of sit at home. Take his car away, go and keep it in their den, and later go and sell it. So these are nothing but criminals. So I support this motion, and especially the matter concerning someone who is a dual citizen of Nigeria and Finland, staying in Finland, giving orders, and in fact, giving, I will say, orders that you don't understand why people should accept it here. But then, criminals will always find a reason to do what they want to do. I have also had interactions with the Finnish embassy, and in fact, the United Nations head in Nigeria, who is from Finland. And what she told me was, it is a government-to-government interaction that will lead to a resolution of this, because as a citizen of Finland, that he has a right to express his opinion. But I can tell you, my dear colleagues, each and every one of us has suffered greatly from what is happening in the Southeast. They attacked Senator Carlo when he was doing campaigns. They attacked me. There's nobody they have not tried to intimidate. But we cannot be intimidated because we are in a country that has rule of law. And so I support this motion in its entirety. And when the time comes for the prayers, if there's anything I will add, we will. But we want to urge our colleagues and the rest of Nigeria to see this matter not just as a Southeast matter, but as a matter for Nigeria. I so submit.
All right, let's take this further here on RT International. Now crossing live to former Nigerian presidential contender Adamu Garba joining us live here on RT International. Great to see you today. A very warm welcome to you. You've been listening to the story here on RT. I know you know the story. I mean, just briefly, this guy, Simon Ekpa, born in 1985. They say he's a Nigerian-Finnish lawyer and a political activist. He's accused of essentially running a separatist movement from his home in Finland. And Nigeria has demanded that Finland take measures against this activist. Why does the government see the activist as a threat, Adamu?
Because, you know, what the activist is building on is something that started since 1966 in Nigeria, when we had the first civilian war that is called Biafran War, when some generals in that area decided to want to secede. Then a civil war was ensured, and suddenly there was unity. But most recently, one man that was termed and adjudicated as a terrorist in Nigeria, who is currently serving in Nigerian jail, Mr. Nnamdi, started the movement in the name of IPOB, that's Indigenous People of Biafra, to actualize the dream of that secession. He was termed, jailed currently in Nigeria. And suddenly you now have this man who is sitting in Finland, was able to leverage on social media platforms to continue to stir violence and encourage killings and destruction in that part of the country that have known no peace for so long time. Simon Ekpa leveraged on social media. He lived in Finland, he paid Finnish tax, and do everything well in Finland, happily with his family, while causing trouble and making people here to be killing each other. When that happens again, he will carry the footages of the killings and publish on his social media handles.
But Mr. Garba, sorry, I mean, can I just jump in quickly? I mean, do you think this guy, Simon Ekpa, is working alone? Because there are some reports saying that he may have a sponsor, but that claim has not been substantiated. What do you think? I mean, are we talking about a guy on his own, or is he getting support from somewhere?
There is no way you will disconnect the wide-ranging network of this Biafra movement across the world. It is there. But one thing that surprises us is the fact that he is living in a self-acclaimed democratic country, a democratic model. Finland, and the country that Nigeria have a very strong strategic relationship with them. And this man is threatening to disrupt a democratic process in the coming election that is happening in just 7 days from today. He insisted that he will ensure that his activists are armed and they will go to the street, fight, destroy, and stop every other person from going to exercise their freedom of expression and voting. And this is the most democratic practice we have in Nigeria. In fact, Nigeria is one of the model of Western-style democracy. And this man is living in a Western country, disrupting a Western-style democracy in Nigeria, and the Finnish authority did not do it.
Why do you think that is, Adam? Why do you think Finnish authorities have done nothing about this guy, Simon Ekpa, who's essentially trying to run a separatist movement from his home in Finland to affect Nigeria just ahead of your presidential elections? Why is Finland doing nothing?
To be very frankly with you, personally, this is my personal view, and I think Western relationship with Nigeria has always been double standard. There has always been double standard. It appears that what Simon Ekpa is doing is either not threatening their interests or is serving their interests. So to that effect, they will fold their arms and let whatever it is that happen. But if they truly care about democracy, as they say, as they release in their press statement, as they want to support Nigeria to ensure that there is free and fair election where all Nigerians are going to vote peacefully, the best solution, the best thing they need to do is to make sure that that guy is apprehended and perhaps submitted down to Nigeria so that he can face the justice of Nigeria, since it is hurting Nigeria, not Finland.
All right, former Nigerian presidential contender Adamu Gardaba joining us live here on RT International. Great to see you. Thank you very much for your...
Expose all those ones doing those things, especially people like Simon Ekpa. He's sitting down there in comfort. Some countries are encouraging him to do what he's doing to Nigeria, and we are here supporting him.
Focus, and I know they can defeat us if you are not careful. I am very sure. I don't have any doubt at all.
Everyone to understand that it is time we are now pushed
for drawing our attention to a very critical part of our national life that is leading to a disintegration of our lives through the incessant herder-farmer clash, destruction of plants and all that by those. And indeed, that has also led to the invasion of Nigeria by those who call themselves herders but are not Nigerian citizens. I recall, as a member of this Senate, that this bill at a particular time was also introduced on the floor of this Senate by Senator Kwankwaso. I recall also the problem that was following the debate, and that problem is what we will need to tackle if we have to get to the nitty-gritty of this bill. While I agree that now is the time for us to stop open grazing, it also means that this is also the time for us to take another look at the law that makes land to be in the hands of states. Because there's no way you're going to be able to establish a ranch in a state if the state government says that they don't want it. I'm glad that Senator Zam has said that those who are sedentary, in states of origin of the herders, should be able to establish ranches. And of course, he has also given us the costing. But in order to do this, we must go back and look at the law. Because if we don't deal with that law, merely asking people to go, if they want to establish ranch, to now go and talk with those. No one owns land. It's the state governments that own land. That means that even if you agree with the owners or settlers or a community or that, if the state government does not give its consent, then it means that you will not be able to go forward with it. So as we consider this, I also want us to look at the Land Use Act as an impediment to this particular very wonderful bill, to ensure that we can get and put to rest this matter of herder-farmer clash. And I can see why. And I want to also recall to all my colleagues that at a particular time, the former governor of Kano State, Ganduje, suggested to everyone that he has enough land in Kano State for all the herders in Nigeria to come and graze. But of course, what happened is that some people are using these herders and all that to destabilize this country. Just 2 weeks ago, I was at home in my own local government in Obingwa, far down in the southern part of Nigeria in Abia State. Some women came to me and said that the herders were bringing their cows to finish up all their planted, and that there's nothing they can do. That even when they come there, they will threaten them that they are going to kill and maim, and there's nothing they can do about it. They wanted for me to do something about it. So I had to go to the local government chairman and said, let's go and see the DPO and they had to go to plead with those headers. That is the extent to which this has reached. Everyone in Nigeria, if you go from the west to the coast, all the way up to the middle belt, and you go up to the north, farmers are under threat. And what it has led to is the food crisis that we have today. So I support this bill, and I say, as we consider it, let us also look at all the elements that will make us bring out a bill that will be for the interests of